wishes all of our Jewish listeners, who are probably just you and me, and maybe one or two others, happy and healthy New Year. Her health is not that great. She had another shot yesterday, she said, and it knocked the heck out of her. But she's had an MRI, and her Crohn's is really acting up, so she apologizes. And she does want everybody to know that she's still around. And when she feels like she has the strength, she will call in and say hi.
Well, we just wish her the best. And
I did say to her that we're all pulling for her and everything. And,
I know she likes to listen to the show even when she's not on.
I know. She's one of our... She's become... No, not that she's become. She always was one of our staunch supporters and listeners. But now that she hasn't been on, she does listen most of the time. So,
I don't worry about her listening or not. That's not.
No, her health is the most important thing.
She's got to get better. That's the priority.
And other than that, it's really been something. I mean, you pick up the newspaper, you never know what you're going to read. I will say that as of a month ago, Trump was really narrowing down.
Yep.
The race. Clinton started out with a big bump after the Democratic convention. It was as high as 10 or 11 points in some places. And he had it down to about 4 or 5.
That's where it's at now, but 5 or 6.
And now, certain Ohio, even places like Georgia. Georgia might actually be up for grabs, which Georgia hasn't gone Democratic since Jimmy Carter.
But actually his numbers...
Or maybe Clinton, because he was from the South.
And his last few days, his numbers have been going back up, Trump.
Well, his listeners have been saying basically what you've been saying. That, maybe he did this stuff 11, 12, 15, 20 years ago. But they bring up the fact that Hillary's been screwing the government for quite a while. So everybody is, going back to the old argument. All right? So I really don't know what to say. I don't know who to say or what to believe.
Mm-hmm. The WikiLeaks, the stuff is going to be real. Because nobody has ever said it's a fraud.
I'm not following you.
Well, somebody said, well, maybe they're not true, those emails. But nobody...
What, the WikiLeaks?
Yeah. But nobody has denied them. So, we have to assume they're true, because if they weren't true, somebody would deny them. So they were tampered with or something.
In all honesty, if this proves one thing, and this is on both sides of the argument, all right? I'm sure you'll agree.
Mm-hmm.
Once you type something on the internet, once you send a text, it's there for life. All right? You could delete it.
But it's there.
But between the DOJ and a hacker and all that stuff, if they want to get you, they could, they go right in, they feed right into your account, and they draw these things out. Kind of hard to say no. That wasn't me. So, I mean, look, I wouldn't put certain things past both of them. They both have their flaws.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget, I was a staunch Bernie supporter.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that come out. The WikiLeaks came about Bernie. She did a lot of things to bury him.
Well, I know that the election process was not exactly on the up and up when it came to Bernie. Bernie got a raw deal. And you know how you could tell? You could tell because Republicans were saying that the Democrats would have had an easier time electing Bernie Sanders, than Hillary Clinton with all of her baggage. Because there wasn't a hell of a lot of stuff on Bernie, and Bernie was sincere. Yeah. Bernie had the support of the young people, and a lot of people my age, our age, Uh, and
Yeah.
and even though I've come around to support Hillary, I've had my doubts about certain things, but in weighing the two people, and this was before the allegations came out with Trump, but in weighing the allegations, and Trump scares me because Trump talks like a dictator. He points out all the obvious problems and how the country is going down the tubes, but only he could solve it. I have the answers. You know who said that? Hitler said that.
Wow.
Okay? Dictators across Europe have said it. All right? I have all the answers. And right now, you've got historians and people talking about how he won't admit to it, but he emulates Putin, your buddy.
Oh, wait. They're
What?
leaking weeks that Hillary has contact with Putin. She really likes him. They get along well.
I guess he liked that business about the reset button,
He likes the uranium that he got from her.
Well,
20% of our uranium now goes to Russia.
Well, like I said, when Trump talks about, when his followers say lock her up, well, he says he's gonna instruct his attorney general to draw up charges against her and throw her in jail. Well, that's what a totalitarian government does.
Well, let me tell you something. A young gentleman, a seaman, working on a submarine, took 6 pictures of the submarine to show his family for memories. He got a year in jail.
In Russia?
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah, much worse than what Hillary did. There's stuff about the president, that's only thing I will say. The news yesterday, NBC had 0 stories about WikiLeaks. ABC had 30 seconds. NBC and CBS had a minute.
What about CNN?
Well,
CNN.
No, they're not the regular stations. Forget about CNN. They're worse. But they don't. They don't talk about. They discuss things. I'm talking about on the shows. But when it comes to stories about the women, they all had about 15, 20 minutes about the stories about the women. So nobody's getting to see on the basic channels what WikiLeaks is saying. Nobody knows because the stations are not going to read it to them. CNN doesn't read it to them.
Well, thank goodness you still have newspapers.
They don't publish it. Tell me, nobody's publishing it. New York Times, most of them are.
The Wall Street Journal isn't publishing it?
Well, maybe they are. I'm just saying, but the mainstream, liberal ones, the ones that liberal people read, never see anything about what's going on. Just like you don't see it. And you really, and listen, every day there's 2,000 emails coming out. If nobody's going to tell you about it, you're not going to read them. How do you know what's really going on? What really happened? The things that the President Obama did, the communications between Obama and did you hear about that? I forget which one of the guys, the head of the Democratic Party was. I don't remember who he was. It was they were talking down about Catholics and evangelists, that they're going to go and infiltrate them. And they called them, and they just said some pretty nasty things about the religious people. We're talking about Catholics. The Catholics, 20% of the voters are Catholic, and they follow the Democrats most of the time. And they said really nasty things about Catholics. basically.
Who did?
Well, there was two guys from the. One worked for Obama and one was working for Hillary. They were emailing back and forth, finding ways of
talking about evangelicals
and Catholics, how they're going to try to do certain things to change their minds, and that's.
I got news. I would not. They're so stupid. I would not put anything in print. I wouldn't call anybody up. You want to meet somebody? That's one thing. Let's have lunch.
Now, one of the things was asked is why doesn't WikiLeaks release any emails from Trump?
Well, because Breitbart, and Julian Assange and what's his face? The guy who's running his campaign, they're all sort of in cahoots,
No, because Trump does not use emails.
He doesn't?
He does not use emails.
Smart man.
Yep. So, he says if you write it, it could be somebody else is going to see it.
Well, I am going to take a moment to make coffee. Do you want coffee?
Sure, why not?
Okay, let's... hey, people. We haven't been on in 2 weeks. There's got to be a lot to talk about. Why don't you guys call us up?
Maybe they don't even know who we are anymore.
Maybe we should tell them.
This is the Rebellious Rev.
This is Laurel and Hardy.
Abbott and Costello.
That's right.
Oh, we're going to play a little music here. Here we go. Just remember this. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. That does not. I hope it hasn't been like this the whole show.
Felix.